Shock Monkey Radio is created by adults for entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the sponsors or FXPG Public Radio. For additional information, refer to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Stand warned.
So I watched Minority Report again. And I have to say, that's a damn fine flick. It's a really good movie. All right. So this whole movie hinges upon the concept of pre-crime law enforcement. They have 3 psychics sedated and plugged into machines who see murders in the future. Now, first of all, I find that concept immensely offensive. Psychics are still people, right? I don't care how many murders are stopped before they can happen. But you cannot keep 3 people constantly sedated in an infinity pool. That's insane. That's inhumane. It's cruel. And I'm shocked that no one in the movie brings that up. They're people, not assets. They are people, not futuristic computers that you can exploit as you please. And why do they need to laser engrave wooden balls with the suspect and victim names? Seems like all those computers in the room, you could just send the names to a screen. But if you absolutely have to have the wooden balls, why not use just one? It seems wasteful. And how the hell did they even record what these psychics are seeing in their minds anyway? I don't know. Anyway, the movie opens up on an investigation and an arrest of a future murderer. Guy suspects his wife is cheating. He gets confirmation by playing hooky and sneaking back into the house to find his wife with another man. And prior to any violence, Ethan Hunt and Buck Compton bust in and arrest the husband for a murder he didn't commit. Yet, and I'll be honest, I have to admit that something terrible was about to happen in that situation. But nothing had happened yet. So the husband is convicted and set to prison for a crime he did not commit. But he probably was going to do it. And this investigation and opening sequence is supposed to be showing pre-crime actually working. And almost immediately after you get hit over the head with the pre-crime propaganda, you immediately get hit over the head with the pre-crime propaganda with a commercial touting the success of pre-crime and pushing for the program to go national. At this point in the film, it's just limited to the district, probably in southern Maryland, Northern Virginia. All right, so John Anderton, who is Tom Cruise's character, he is a zealot for this pre-crime system. And he believes in it almost solely because his son was snatched one day from a very crowded pool. And he wishes pre-crime, I wrote pro-crime, pre-crime existed back then to spare himself and his now ex-wife that particular pain. And that is why he believes. That is why he is a zealot. And speaking of zealots, my favorite character in this film is Danny Whittwer, a guy from the Department of Justice who is sent to audit the pre-crime system. I like this character because he wanted to be a priest, but then realized at some point that he looks like Colin Farrell, and God doesn't want us to be wasteful with the gifts he gives us. Plus, I think his faith is constantly being tested in this film. And that scene in the elevator when he says, "Put the gun down, John, I don't hear a red ball." And then all of a sudden that red ball alarms down, and you see that doubt, that faith in God just leave his face. It's a good actor. Colin Farrell's a good actor. He's a good-looking man too. You know, I'm 100% straight, but I'm good-looking man. EK feels well enough to laugh. That's a good thing. Okay. All right. Yeah. Put the gun down, John. All right. So that's probably my favorite scene. So obviously this entire movie is about free will and predetermination. And so the second act is about the precogs naming the zealot John Anderton as a future murderer. And he is the one who conducts the investigation. What's funny is that he runs. Everyone runs, as they say. However, he could have surrendered immediately once he saw this possible future and thus proving that humans have free will. But that would negate the premise of the pre-crime program. So John runs and they chase him. Now, I don't want to describe the rest of the movie because it really is good. And if you haven't seen it, you really should. But I want to talk about the religious themes in the movie because they directly refer to frequently. The bathtub in which they keep the precogs in is called The Temple. The guy watching the innocent prisoners of pre-crime, his name is Gideon. They even have a conversation about being, quote, more like clergy than cops while in the temple. It's very relevant because this movie is such an example of the argument about free will and predetermination. Because those first conversations about it probably happened in churches. I think the movie did a good job in presenting these ideas in a way that anyone can understand. Plus, they don't really give commentary on it or make a judgment on it. I mean, they kind of land on the side of free will. All right. Or actually, it's more like the conclusion at the end of Forrest Gump. It's a little bit of both. And I agree. I think it is a little bit of both. Additionally, the film addresses the idea of our civil rights being infringed upon, not only by the government, but by corporations also. Retina scans have become the new fingerprint in this future, and advertisers scan your eyes in public and tailor ads to you by name. The worst part is that scene with the spiders, the little walking drones that come into your private property and scan your eyes. In that scene, they announced that pre-crime led to laws that allows for this violation of the Fourth Amendment. I find this to be the biggest reason why I would vote against pre-crime. However, newspapers look cool in this future. They update in real time. It's pretty awesome. Do you need to buy just one newspaper, or is it like a subscription thing? And if you don't pay the subscription, the paper just goes blank, and yeah. Anyway. But there's one exchange that sums it all up in this movie, and that's when Buck Compton, I forget the actor's name, but you know, he didn't really get work until after Band of Brothers. And so he has this conversation where they confront John. They're about to arrest him, and he says, "You don't have to run. You know, you don't have to run, John." And John says, "Well, you don't have to chase me." Sums it all up. Really does. So, Minority Report, 12 of 13 stars. Big stars, big director, sci-fi, action, and philosophy. It's got the holy triumvirate, the holy trinity. But the very existence of Minority Reports, you know, one of the twins disagreeing about the potentiality of a different future, I think that invalidates the entire idea of pre-crime. Anyway, great flick. If you haven't seen it, you should. But I watched it again. I had a lot of thoughts on it, and so wrote some notes down. You know, a lot of people say there's like, you know, there's not many good movies in the modern era, and I don't know. I watched two of them last night. I watched Minority Report again, and I watched Dread again. And those are two really good movies that came out in the modern era. There's those Andrew Clavens out there that they still only watch black and white films, and I'm just like, how can you stand it? How can you stand it?